Hello, everybody. Welcome to this powerful webinar hosted by Vester. We are here today to talk about hotel and apartment investing and how to diversify your real estate investing portfolio by investing in both of these. But before we get started to teach you the importance of these two particular types of commercial real estate, I'd like to take a second to introduce our host today, Vester. This webinar is powered by Vester. Vester is a platform that teaches you how to invest in deals through crowdfunding. It is also a Black-owned crowdfunding platform, and we have the CEO and founder of Vester in the room tonight. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Davon Reeves, the queen of hotel investing and my investing bestie. Davon introduced me not only to hotel investing, but also the importance of letting other women of color know about this unique industry and how to get involved. And so since 2020, she's been rocking with me, and I'm super excited to have Davon here today because she is going to share with you how she became the CEO of Vester and how Vester is transforming the way we raise money for real estate deals. So Davon, say hi. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. I have to have you introduce me each and every time. Okay, I like that introduction.
Yes.
Hello, good evening. Happy Monday, everyone.
Happy Monday. So we are going to get into the teaching, but before we do that, Davon, can I take a second to just kind of teach people what crowdfunding is? Because I know we have some people in the room who may not know what that is, why that matters. So if you could just give us a little, what is crowdfunding?
I will start it off. So before we really get started, how many people know anything about crowdfunding? Hello. Let's see. Let me know in the chat if y'all know anything about crowdfunding. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm about to share my screen. Okay. Y'all can see my screen. Okay, so let me know. Wait, only 2 people? Wait a minute, how many people? Yes, used it once. Okay, well, that's all right, because I'm going to break it through. I'm going to walk you through. Okay, I don't. Great. How to fix my light here? Okay, there we go. All right, so let's get this party started. All right. So as Aquania mentioned, my name is Davon Reeves. I am the CEO and founder of Vester. We are a crowdfunding platform where you can invest or raise capital for commercial real estate, including hotels and multifamily. And I actually started off as a front desk agent, and I partnered with Mike on the Home 2 Suites in El Reno, Oklahoma. And during that capital raising time, I saw that it was kind of challenging. And I actually was going to use a different crowdfunding platform, but the experience wasn't that great. And once I realized that you can create your own crowdfunding platform, that's what I did. And I wanted to make the experience a lot better than what I experienced. So anyway, so crowdfunding is basically the use of small amounts of capital, and we're coming together for individuals. So basically, we're coming together, putting pools of money in on the website. Has anybody ever heard of GoFundMe? Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Usually when I say GoFundMe, everyone knows. Okay. The majority of people, 99% of people heard of GoFundMe. All right. So that's exactly what crowdfunding is, except GoFundMe, you're doing it for, there we go. GoFundMe, you're doing it for donations. With Vester, instead of donations, you're actually getting equity. All right. So yes, our crowdfunding platform is designed to connect deal funders and investors. Okay. All right. So what's a funder? A funder tonight, it will be Mike. So a funder on Vester is essentially an issuer who is going to come onto the platform, and they are going to connect with you. That's what Vester is, to invest in their deal. All right. So you may hear me use that word throughout the night. So you have funder and you have an investor. So what's an investor? An investor is someone who wants to invest in a particular deal on Vester. All right. So If you hear somebody say investor or funder, that's what it is, okay? All right, so what's Vestor for those who don't know? Actually, how many people heard of Vestor? Let me know in the chat. Yay! Aquania saved me. Yeah, no. Well, guess what? You about to learn today, okay? Used it once. Used it. I have. I love it. Yay! Y'all heard of us. I love it. I'm here for it. So, Vestor, we are a regulation CF. So, what that means, we are regulated by the SEC, right? So, that stands for Securities Exchange Commission, all right? And so we're not just a website. A lot of people think we're just a website. No, it's not. It's a lot of compliance. So we had to vet Mike. Mike knows the due diligence process. It took a while. So we're not just a website. And basically the SEC or the Securities Exchange Commission, they have different ways and different vehicles on how you can raise capital, okay? Because their job is to protect the investor. And so with Regulation CF, what we are, we're a crowdfunding portal that's for commercial real estate projects. So think of us as an alternative way to invest in commercial real estate. And so what sets us apart from our competition or other portals is that, or other crowdfunding platforms, is that we accept both accredited and non-accredited investors. So what is an accredited investor? An accredited investor is someone who has 200,000 or more, or they have a net worth of $1 million or more, excluding their primary residence, okay? And basically in anything outside of that, you'll be considered not. I did not come up with that. The SEC came up with that calculation. I'm not sure why. I don't know why they came up with 200,000 and not 3 or 1, but that is the calculation that they came up. Basically what they're saying is they feel as though that if you make less than $200,000 or have $1 million in net worth, less than that, then you won't be able to invest in certain type of deals. So before Regulation CF, or before the Jobs Act that was passed in 2012 by former President Barack Obama, non-accredited investors couldn't invest. So basically people like yourself or non-accredited investors won't be able to invest in these type of deals. So I wanted to make it possible. And so a funder can raise up to $5 million per deal. And we are a member of the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, which stands for FINRA. All right. So how can you invest in these deals? You can actually go through our website, go to vestor.com. And basically what the process looks like, you're going to view the pitch deck information. So this presentation, as well as the replay, will be on the website. So you'll be able to come back and look at it. You'll be able to conduct any due diligence as well. So basically reading the pitch deck, looking at the Form C, which outlines all the different risks. And then if it all looks good to you after you speak with your financial advisor or you work with your CPA, after you read the forms, then you'll create an account to invest. So Vestor does not charge anyone to invest on the platform. So there's no fee. So someone say, hey, I'm gonna charge you some money to invest using Vestor, then you are on the wrong website. That's not Vestor. We don't charge the investors to invest, okay? So after you create an account, which is free, you'll complete a Vestor questionnaire. So basically that's asking if you're an accredited investor or not, and how you can invest. You can use a wire transfer, or you can use your accredited debit card that's up to $5,000. So as I mentioned before, as an investor, you do not have to pay any type of fee. How investor get paid, the funder will get 5% of the total raise. So this is me. I'm CEO, like I mentioned before, over 15 years of experience. Started off as a front desk agent, co-owner of 3 hotels, and now CEO and founder. I'm in the tech world now, in fintech when it comes to Vestor, and then Anand Patel, who is the Chief Technology Officer. So make sure that we hope that you all are connected. Make sure you mark us safe in your mailbox. We are on LinkedIn, we are on Facebook, and this is our website. So you'll be seeing some more information. And I am definitely looking forward to seeing you all becoming investors in the near future. So if you have any questions for me regarding Vestor itself, please feel free to contact me. Anything dealing with the deal, Mike or Aquania will be able to answer that. So before I pass the baton over to Aquania, does anybody have any questions for me?
Well, Devon, you did a good job because we don't have
I did a good job.
questions.
That means y'all all ready. That means y'all all going to invest. That's what that means.
That's what that means. All right. So, oh, Veronica, go ahead and ask your question. Veronica, do you want to come off mute or do you want to type it in the chat? Just let us know. Veronica, do you have a question or did you raise your hand by accident? Oh, not able to come.
Not able to come.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, hold on one second. Ask to unmute. Here you go.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I do have a question. I'm just curious, and just to be clear, how does an investor, so once you invest, how do you make money from the crowdfunding effort?
Oh, that is a great question. So that's what Mike, and so basically with Vestor, with the crowdfunding platform, you're investing in the actual deal through the crowdfunding platform site, through Vestor itself. So you could potentially make money off the deals that you would invest in. So what Mike is going to present, he's going to present his particular deal. And so which an opportunity for you to invest in and potentially, have a return on investment. Hopefully that answers the question. Mm-hmm. So basically you'll have the rest of the presentation to understand how you'll be able to how you'll be able to receive a return on investment. Mm-hmm. We're just a crowdfunding platform, so that way you can understand how it works.
Exactly. So next up, we are going to hop into how to diversify your real estate portfolio by investing in hotels and apartments. And of course, this would not be complete if we didn't present you an opportunity. So we are going to first teach. We always want to teach first. So you learned about crowdfunding, what it looks like, and how it works.
Wait. Hold on. We had a question. Is this anything like multi-level marketing? No, this is nothing like multi-level marketing. No. No. Vestor, it's like far from Vestor is it's a crowdfunding platform. It's like GoFundMe. It's literally like a website. It's like here. Should I pull up the website maybe?
I have the website up if you want me to share my screen.
Yeah, share your screen so we can maybe, because a lot of folks are visual.
Right. Yes. Let me show you. Let me show you.
So basically what tonight is, it's an opportunity for you to invest in a deal using the Vestor platform website. And so Mike is going to, pool money to invest in deals. Mm-hmm. No, okay, you never contribute to a GoFundMe. I understand. GoFundMe is it's more of a donation base, and this is more of an equity base. So it's an opportunity for you to invest. In exchange, you'll receive a security. So what that means is you'll receive part ownership in a particular deal in exchange for equity or ownership. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then that's our website. That's the Vestor website.
So I'm going to come back to the Vestor website. I want to hop into the presentation so we can first teach you about apartment and hotels, and then we can get into, if you would like to learn more, how to use Vestor to invest. Okay, so this is great because we love the questions. We want to answer your questions. This is exactly what we were hoping to do tonight. And so without further ado, I am going to introduce our host, but give me a second now while I pull up this presentation. All right, let's get this slideshow going. All right, can everybody see my screen? Type in the chat, yes, if you can see my screen. Cash flow secrets. Okay. Now, those of you who know me, you know that I love to invest in real estate. I talk about it a lot. I became an investor in hotels in 2020 thanks to Mike Ealy and Davon Reeves. But I also recently acquired my own hotel with my partners in July of 2024. So I am on a mission, okay? There are only 2% of hotel owners are individuals of color, and we know that we can do better. So we are on a personal mission to educate more people about these opportunities. In addition to that, I just think it's important for you to know that these are possible, because one thing I will say is ignorance also limits your ability to be in things that are working. And it's our job as investors and current real estate investors in hotels and apartments to teach you about these deals so that you can pursue them if you're interested. But I am a huge fan of education first. And so before we get into any of the numbers about a specific opportunity, I wanted to bring to the stage someone who I admire, who has been in the real estate commercial space for 25 plus years and has helped many families create wealth through real estate. And I am excited because Mike Ealy, he knows his stuff, okay? He helped me get in the game, but honestly, he's going to help me and my family get to the next level. And I'm super excited that he's here to share some of his cash flow secrets with you. So without further ado, Mike, can you hop on camera for me?
I'm not on camera.
Yes,
Okay.
you are
Yeah,
on
I'm
camera
there. Yeah, yeah.
and you're
Can you
ready to
see me?
go. Yes,
I
I
am.
do.
Can you see me? Okay.
Yes. So Mike, just tell it. Well, how about I do this? I'm going to be your assistant today. I will advance your
Okay.
slides. How about
Okay.
you just do the talking and let me know when
All
you're
right.
ready to go to the next one.
I am. Well, first of all, I just want to thank everyone that attended here today. Like, you guys could have been anywhere. Literally, you're all over the world right now, but you chose to spend this time, this 45 minutes with us. And I'm thankful to spend that time for you. I wish you guys could see what I see through the screen, because I see some people that are about to take this information and allow it to have impact in their lives so that they continue to, or whatever it is, create the legacy wealth, whether sending their children to school, whether setting up retirement, or giving gifts to their grandparents, what may ever that may be. I'm just going to tell you, like, real estate has been such an amazing resource for me. And let me tell you something, guys. You lack nothing. All right. You think you may lack a little bit of resources or money or the know-how or the know-who, but let me tell you something. That is not your problem. All right. That's only a symptom of the problem. But today, we're going to provide so much impact that your finances will begin to transform. All right. Is anybody ready for a transformation with their financial wealth? If you are, type in the chat me. If you're ready for a transformational wealth, just type in the chat me. Okay, some of us, all right, we're ready to get this started. And let me tell you something. The things I'm sharing with you today, it created one of the greatest investments that I've, whether you call it investment or wealth. For some of you, may not know my story, but literally I lost it all back in 1999. All right, no, 2001, 2003, and through real estate, I came back, and through the Great Recession, and I created a lot of wealth there. And with that power, with that, I was able to use that resource. And I remember my father passed away, and I said, I'll take care of the family. And I was able to give that gift back when I paid my mother's house off. That's what these deals have done for me. It's allowed me to give back to my community and my church. And I'm sharing this with you because this is the kind of impact, this is the kind of transformation you guys will begin to do. Whether you invest 25,000 or 100,000, some of you will invest millions, but it all starts today. Are you ready? If you're ready, type in the chat ready. We're going to get this show on the road. Type in ready if you're ready. For those who don't know me, I'm Mike Ealy. I've been investing since 1999. We've got over 1,500 apartment units, 40 houses, parcels of land, over 4 hotels, and we're doing a development right now, downtown Sarasota. And guys, it's not it. We're just getting warmed up. And we're going to help you retire and get to the next level. All right, let's get this thing going here. So just a little more about me. This is our track record. So this is not even the full picture. This is just the snapshot of what we're doing. This goes back to just 2019, right? Where it shows that we had an average 38% IRR. 76% annual rate of return, 28 out of 28 deals completed, just shy of $400 million in deal, average of 2.5 years exiting in over 2,400 units. Now, guys, that was started in, what I just shared with you started in 2019. I've been investing long before that. I'm just showing you just a snippet of where we're going. And right now, we're on track to do over 2,000 units in the next 2 years, and we'll get to $1 billion in assets. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Now, here's kind of our growth timeline. As I shared before, at one point, I was not necessarily exiting out of apartments, but I had my focus on doing hotels. And I'll never forget, some of my partners we met said, you know what, I want to acquire 1,000 units. And I was like, we're focused on hotels right now. But you know what? I said, you know what, because we're all about helping. We're all about transformation. They said they want to get 1,000 units. I said, I'll tell you what, we're going to partner up and we're going to make that happen. And what happened in 2019, 30 days later, we had the opportunity to acquire 1,000 units. That's right, 1,000 units in one swoop. And we actually passed, and we only closed on about 346. But then every year we kept growing. And as you can see, we got up to 2,400 units, okay? Over 2,400 units. Now, what's so amazing about that? You go to the next slide here. What's so amazing about that is, again, you remember I said, I want to have impact so we can have transformation. I'm going to share it with you right here. Now, here's some deals that I've done over the last 5 years. And I'll just share a little bit about each one. So the one on the top left, that's the gray one. That's a little 4-family. Well, that 4-family is part of a 30 unit in that area. That was the area I passed on. We bought it for $400,000. We completely gutted it. We end up putting a 1.7 million in the total project. We created it over 10 times the value. All right. We put it in, like I said, acquired for 400. This 30 units worth $4.7 million, has a net cash flow of $15,000 a month after debt. This one to the right of that, it's one of the orange one in the top right corner. I'm really excited about that one. You know what? I'm gonna save that for last. In the bottom left, there's another orange brick one. We took that building, what did we bought that? Again, we bought that 36 unit, bought for $500,000, owner financing. We're all in for $800,000. Within 2 years, we refinanced it. It had a value of where we only projecting a value of 1.5. It ended up appraising at 2.1, refinanced at 65% loan to value. Make a long story short, we refinanced it for $1.2 million, paid all the investors off, and still have over $1 million plus in equity in the deal. Now, some of you are not going to believe it because sometimes I don't believe myself when I tell you this, but this bottom one on the right, I bought at an auction for $3,000. Yes, that's right, $3,000. And we end up putting just shy of 450 all in. We end up getting a master lease. Master lease means we had a tenant and they were all responsible to make life easy. They were responsible for the 3 T's: tenants, toilets, and trash. Okay, guess what? That pushed the value to $1.3 million. You hear me? Guys, I had investors 3 investors with their self-directed IRAs lend us $450,000. We paid them off, and now there's still over $800,000 in equity. And this last one I want to show you, the top right, one of my favorites. That's part of that 300 unit portfolio that I told you we bought, where we sold off some of the portfolio. We kept some of the. Now check these numbers out. We just refinanced the 3 remaining units. Guess what? We pulled out a total of $10 million. That's right, $10 million. Now look, let's check out the numbers. Now, one, well, I have to say, we paid ourselves, okay? We took out just shy of 2 million. That's what we did as the partners. We took out 2 million, but here, this is where you get better. Then we put 3 million to the side for reserves. Okay, that's so the building can function. We probably won't even use all that, but just in case we want to keep the building for another 10 years, there's money to do renovations. But what I love the most, we pulled out $5 million. That's right, $5 million. That paid all the investors back. And guess what? It gave them a 17% return on their money, just on the refinance. They still got an additional 70% return coming to when we exit out of the property. Would anybody like a return like that? If you like a return, type return. Okay, oh, I forgot, I'm not controlling this here. But guys, these are the opportunities for you, and I'm going to educate you so that you can do these same things yourself, whether with us, without it. I want you to be successful. I want you to have impact, not in just our lives, but your life, okay? All right, let's go into the next one. So why invest in apartments now? I know some people are like, why? You know, what's the big deal about apartments? Well, this is the big deal right here. You go to the next one here. One big reason why apartments is this. You can't see it, but if you look at that screen, it shows you the average house in the US is now selling for just shy of $400,000. Now, for all you out in California, New York, I know you'll be like, what? I get it. I know you can't get a house that cheap. I know. But the average is 400,000. Now, what that means is if you did today's rate at around almost just shy of 7%, that means you got debt, principal interest around $2,100 a month. Okay, $2,100 a month. But check it out. You add taxes, insurance, maintenance. You know what your payment goes up to? Anybody have any idea what you're paying now? Type in the chat if you have an idea. I just told you you'll be at $2,100. Where will you be at now? In addition to that 2,100, anybody have an idea? Take a guess. Take a guess. Anybody? All right. That somebody was close. You're a little high. Nadine, Yancey, she said it. 28, 27. You guys are almost correct. You're going to probably be at an average. That's it. Watch it. $3,000. That's where you're going to end up averaging $3,000 a month. Okay. So why is that? Well, apartments, the national average is $1,800, $1,800. And guess what? That includes all the amenities. That's some parking. That's utilities. That's nice amenities like a pool, a workout room, like all of that for $1,800. And now most people want to travel. They're not committing to the jobs, or the jobs are allowing them to travel. So that's why there's always going to be a demand for apartments. Okay, let's go to the next. Now, here's the great thing about this. In 2023, I've been talking about this for 2 years now. All right, it's 24. I've been talking about this since 22. $56.1 billion worth of multifamily mortgages matured in 2023. Now, what's so bad or what's so great about the information? In 2024, a lot of those people are going to get foreclosed on. Why? Well, this is why. When the interest rates, a lot of these people took out 2%, 3% loans. Well, guess what? The rates doubled. The rates doubled to like 6 and 7%. So now a lot of these people can't cash flow. In layman's terms, we'll get a little technical, they can't hit their DSCR, debt coverage ratio. What that means is they're not making enough money for the banks. So when you do a deal, you must make, most loans, you should be at a 1.25. What does 1.25? The one means you need to make at least 100% of the debt plus, and then the point is 25% more. People have a debt coverage ratio at 1 or less. What does that mean? They can't make the payment. And if they can make the payment, they don't have enough money to what? To pay for any expenses. That's tough. That's tough. But this is where you seize an opportunity. As one says, another man's Another man's opportunity, another man's tragedy is another man's opportunity. All right. In Chinese, they say problem and opportunity is the same word. All right, let's go to the next one then. And here we go. I was just sharing with you just before that billions of foreclosures are coming. Okay. Billions of foreclosures are coming. Go ahead to the next one. Sorry there. And here's an example of someone, he didn't do the bad thing. He invested. The problem was he was invested in San Francisco. And when that interest rate jumped up, like in the West Coast, they're making money on margins. Okay. Like, I don't know if you realize, but a lot of people in the West Coast, they're not even profiting every month. They actually budget to have a negative cash flow because they're betting on appreciation. Now, what does that all mean? Well, I just shared with you, they're taking a loss every year, right? But that 1 billion in multifamily is increasing by 4 to 6% a year. That's a pretty good return. Okay, that appreciates. So over a 5-year year, it actually appreciated 30%. Well, they were betting on a negative cash flow. Well, now it's even worse. They couldn't take the hit, and because of that, that's one person. That's just one group at $1 billion in multifamily loans, and there's multiple of them out there that we can talk about. Also, here we go. 4 hotels that I talked about, and I bought it when people were running scared. But the one on the right, we'll show you some updated renovation. That is my courtyard that we just finished partly renovating. I have a home 2 suites. That's the hotel that we're all a part of. And you'll see the bottom 2, the Hampton Inn and Staybridge. Guys, I bought all of those except for the courtyard right in COVID, where we got really substantial discount. And God, this is unheard of, but these hotels literally combined generate, let's see, 5, let's see, one, that's 200, 300, that's 500,000, 300, 800,000, plus another for $1.2 million in a month. That's insane. Just because it's all about the cash flow. Anybody like 1.2 million? Anybody could use an extra 1.2 million? Anybody can use an extra 1.2 million? I know I can. Okay. Okay. All right. And I want you to have a good time here, guys. All right. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and you can save it for the end as well. Okay. So now I shared with you the success in hotel, but that still doesn't say why you should invest in hotels. Well, one, I just shared with you the amount of cash flow that you can generate. Now that was the gross income. So, but there is a great cash flow. Number 2, for those of you, I know you're on there, you have a money problem. Not a money problem that you don't have enough money, you got too much money. And you, instead of taking cash flow, I know some of you think this is crazy, but instead of doing cash flow, you rather have a tax write-off. Well, guess what? Hotels are one of the greatest places where you can get a tax write-off, right? Do you realize I have investors that literally net 3 million to 5 million. I have some that do 100,000 a year. Guess what? Because they're part of the deal, they paid no federal taxes because it rolled all the way over. Everybody type in no taxes because we're not going to keep giving Uncle Sam all our money. Say no taxes. Matter of fact, I'm going to start a protest. No taxes, no taxes, no taxes, no taxes. Am I by myself today? I know this gets me excited. I really get excited when we talk about no taxes and depreciation. Okay. And another reason why you invest in hotels is the global customer base. Guys, when you get a hotel, like literally you can start tomorrow. Why? Because you're basing your business off of their revenue, and literally bringing in revenue starting day one. When you get a hotel, 50% of the revenue developed comes from their global customer base. I always like to ask this, like, What is your favorite hotel? What hotel are you loyal to? Type it in the chat. Are you a Hilton Rewards? Are you a Marriott Bonvoy? Are you a IHG? Okay. You know, are you a Choice, Hilton Honors, all three valid, Marriott, Hilton? Okay, yeah. Guys, some of these people, they don't even look at another hotel. They go straight to these brands. All right, let's go to the next one here. So why invest in hotels? I probably said it all right there. I don't even think we need to talk about it anymore. But one of this thing is, just like I shared before, look at it. The tsunami is coming. Again, $250 billion worth of loans are coming due. And guess what? Those interest rates came. Or a PIP. What is a PIP? Property Improvement Program. Basically, it's a renovation on a hotel. And guess what? They don't have money to do it. And because they got the wrong type of loan, the banks won't let them go get a second mortgage to go do the renovations. They could survive, but they're not. And we got multiple sources through CMBS debt, through SBA loans. Those are going to be some of the amazing ways that we get these lucrative, attractive deals. Is this exciting? Type in and say, are you catching what I'm throwing? If you're catching what I'm throwing, type in catching, all right? Type in catching there. I'm by myself. There we go. You got it. Everybody's okay, so you still understand what I'm talking about. Well, one of the great things that we did here, I think this is one of the greatest things what we've done. We created the Lion Capital Fund. I created the Lion Capital Fund because I wanted you guys and my people to have the best of both worlds. See, I love hotels. I love apartments. But you know what? What I love best is the opportunity. I like the opportunity. So I created a fund that you individually, for you and your families, you can seize the opportunity to be a part of a fund that invests not only in hotels, but apartments as well. And I'm gonna share with you a couple of opportunities right here, right now, that you can be a part of right now. This fund is actually already open. We already have investors. It's already doing distribution. Literally within 45 days, you can begin to receive a distribution. And that's why we like it. One great thing about this gives out, I say, a 14 minimum. These are very conservative numbers. Like these hotels and these apartments, they're giving phenomenal returns. I mean, phenomenal. But I'm giving you just the very conservative, all right? And so 14, 16% IRR. Now, some of you like, what's an IRR? Or some of you already know what an IRR, but for those that don't know, IRR stands for internal rate of return. And what that basically does, it takes consideration time, value, money, right? Because money is different values at different times because of inflation, right? And then it takes on cash and net proceeds. So for example, because we got some big people out here. I like to talk $1 million. I don't care if you got 250 or you got 25,000. We working with your $1 million right here. And let's say you invested $1 million. And let's say over a 5-year period, you made 10% on your money every year, right? So 10%, right? You make 10% a year. So that means you made 100,000 every year on your $1 million. So after a 5-year period, you made 50% on your money. You made 500,000. But then you sold it and you made, I don't know, 700,000 in addition from the sale. So in total return, you received your $1 million back and you received a total of 1.2 million in distributions and proceeds. So what we're saying is, if you receive the 14, 16% IRR, it is as if you receive 14% annually if you were to get that distributed over each year, okay? So that's what an IRR. And we look to give a minimum of 6 to 8% cash on cash. And it has a 1.8 to 2.3 equity multiple. Now, what does equity multiple mean and why is that so important? Well, when you're looking for investment, if someone's holding your money, again, we love for you to invest, but I want you to be more even educated. If you got a 2x on that money, that means you doubled your money over a 5-year period. If you can double your money in a 2 to 3 year period, that's even better. If you only made 1.4 million, 1.4x on your money in a 2-year period, guess what? That's great. That means you made like 20% of your money every year. Type in the chat, what's a good return for you? Type in the chat. Are you someone, trust me, I know we want to make as much money as we can, but what would be a good return for you? What would be a good equity multiple for you? Type it in the chat. Are you a 6 to 8%? Are you a 8 to 10%? Are you a 12? Like, what gets you excited about the deal? Please type it in the chat. All right. Somebody said not sure yet. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think another way to think about it, Mike, is telling, when I'm investing, you have to think about how soon do you want this money to double or triple for you. So what Mike's basically saying is when you have a 2x multiple in an opportunity, that means you're going to double your money in a 5-year period if the deal is for 5 years. If you're comfortable with getting less than double your money, then your multiple might be lower, but you definitely need to have a goal, right? So just don't look at investments and say, oh, this sounds cool. It should align with your investment goals. If you have money and you're trying to make your money work for you, you have to think ahead. How long do I want to wait before this money doubles for me or gets 1.5 for me? And so that's what Mike's asking is like, how soon do you want your money to work for you? And how much do you want your money to work for you? Because everybody's answer is going to be different based on their financial goals.
And I'm glad you said that. The key word you said is your money working for you. These opportunities where your money is working for you, typically you still get a great return, but it won't be as great as you being active. That's a whole different story. So imagine your money's working for you. So you're paying somebody to take care of that, okay? But let's go on to the next one. But that's about the Lion Capital. And I'm gonna show you some of the projects the Lion Capital actually invested. Now I showed you an earlier picture of what our courtyard looked like prior, where here's the actual picture of the Marriott courtyard that we just renovated. That's quite different. Can you go back a couple of slides if you could show them the previous one? Let's show them a before.
Here's a before.
So you see that one that's lighted up in the top right corner? That was the Marriott. And if you go back, this is what it looks like today. So that's such an amazing deal. We're really excited. And why I'm excited about this one, this was my first hotel deal. Right. So that is why we're really excited. And literally, that's how it looks at night. Like, no filters, baby. No filters.
All right.
All right.
We have a couple of questions in the chat, but we're going to actually, I want to hit those questions after you talk about this.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sorry. I know I'm moving slow here. I got to speed it up here. Well, I won't speed it up. We'll make sure. But guys, you're okay? What time are we at?
We're at 7:49.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the courtyard in Columbus, Ohio, and then I will get the questions in the chat.
Now I'm glad we're showing this right here. Here's an actual picture of the renovations. We got some new furniture, but as you can see, we have the case. We have what we need. We got to put in new case goods. Case goods are like this, the header and the desk. But you can see we got new chairs and furniture, got new TVs. And so what is this so great about this deal? Well, this deal here, we already done the renovations. The renovations are complete. The gym is renovated. Everything's done. And now what we're looking to do is get money to finish up the FF&E so we can put the remaining case goods in. And we're already in the phase now where we're just really ramping up, increasing occupancy, and increasing revenue so we can exit in 2 years or less. Now, why is this such a great project? Well, one of the things that we want to do was change over management get the revenue going, and we were able to succeed in that. Now, literally, occupancy was down to about 45, 50%. We've gotten it just above 60%. Now, once we get what we call ADR, which is the average daily rate. If you're talking about apartments, you're talking monthly rent. In hotels, you talk about daily rates. Well, we want to get that daily rate up to over $124 a night. And once we do that, and we get another contract in, we're exiting out of this property, and it would have been a great return for you. And this hotel is in the Lion Capital, and it's already renovated. So it's already cash flowing. This is something you don't have to wait for stabilization. All right. And we're going to answer those questions that y'all had, like, sure, how do you run comps and things like that? So again, this is no different than what you do in a single family house. Guys, in a single family house, you want to get more money for it? You got to force the appreciation. How do you force depreciation? You go renovate it, you increase the rent, and you sell it at a higher price. Same thing with a hotel, except instead of having one room, we got 145 rooms, but in hotels, we say keys. This is a 145 key hotel. Okay, let's go to the next one. And I'm gonna let you go from there.
I like to talk about this because people are always asking me, where do you go to find hotels, or how do you know that you're in a good market? So just like real estate that you live in, location, location, location is key. And this Ohio location is really where it's popping. There's a lot of educational universities and colleges in the area. There are manufacturers and major businesses in the area. So you always have demand for your hotel location, because either they're visiting, parents are visiting their students, people are coming to football games, or you have businesses operating and having employees come to their locations. And so one of the things Mike talked about was securing a large contract for the hotel. So what he's essentially saying is the hotel is now going to pursue corporate business contracts or additional corporate business contracts that will allow them to make additional revenue from long-term stays or business travelers, but now in a contract that sort of guarantees a certain amount of business from a particular company. But Ohio is definitely a very active market. This is a great location. And I always tell people the hotels I'm invested in are off the highway. So you definitely want to be able to capture flying travelers and driving travelers. So you always want to think about, where is this hotel located? And is it going to be in a location where the market is going to grow and my hotel can benefit as the city grows? Or is it in a market that's declining? So those are the things you want to pay close attention to when you're evaluating a hotel investment opportunity. All right. So we talked about hotels, and now I'm up because I'm super excited about this particular opportunity that the fund is also investing in. This is a multifamily, AKA apartment opportunity located in Hickory, North Carolina. So shout out to those who said they were in the South. Does anybody know Hickory, North Carolina? Have you ever heard of it? Have you ever been there? Drop in the chat for me if you know Hickory, North Carolina. Because this is a town where it's a lot going on. It's definitely an affordable area to live, especially if you're in the North Carolina, South Carolina area. And so I'm just curious to know, has anyone ever heard of Hickory? Because I heard of it and I'm super excited about it. All right. Hickory, North Carolina is 48 units are located there. This is a multifamily opportunity that if you're invested in the fund, you'll be invested in this deal, right? And the reason we like it, it's very similar to what we talked about. The way that the fund makes money for its investors is by investing in deals that have a good trajectory as well as potential to do well, right? And so we're always looking at what types of goals do we have for our money. That's the type of goals we're going to have for the fund. In this case, this is a 5-year opportunity where you can 2x your money over the 5-year period. So just like Mike said before, you got to have a sense of what you want your money to do and how quickly you want it to double. This one is projected to double in 5 years. And that's what we're looking for, because that money will be available and returned to the fund to pay investors. What also makes this attractive is the fact that we know the market has room to grow. This is a market where this was an affordable housing subdivision. It was built to provide affordable housing to people in Hickory because Hickory, North Carolina is an area where, let me show you these stats. It's a smaller population, but the annual income is about $59,000 a year. And the median home price is right up there where Mike said, almost $350,000, which is a lot for someone who may not be making enough income to really afford that house over a 30-year period, right? So what do? They rent. And Hickory, North Carolina, this particular unit, 48 units, was created for the purpose of providing affordable housing for local people in Hickory. Now, the way that this becomes profitable for investors is the fact that they have not raised the rents in years. So just like the hotel space where you bring investors' money together, you renovate, you raise the rent, and then you sell, this is an opportunity to collectively raise money, renovate, and sell, but also provide affordable housing to those who are in the area. And we already know that it has the potential to increase in value because it hasn't raised the rent in a long time. And once the renovations are completed, there's more than enough justification to do so. And the rents will still be affordable because for those who are on housing grants and housing assistance, the grants will still cover their housing, right? So this is an opportunity where you've identified a property, you see where it has room for improvement. All you need to do is do the renovations and do the work. But let's talk some numbers, okay? Because for some of y'all out here, you're probably trying to figure out, like, how do you make money? Like, how much are you going to raise these rents, right? So let's say the average unit in this subdivision right now, the rent is like $350 to $400 a month, but the rent has not been raised since pretty much since they built it and people have been living there. But under the new ownership with renovations, once you make the renovations, you're able to increase the rent based on now it's a nicer place to live. It is more accommodating, has some perks and privileges. Let's raise the rent. But even if you raise the rent by $50, we're not talking a lot, but even if you raise the rent by $50, you get to raise the rent by $50 times 48 units per month. Then think about that over a year. So we could actually, just by raising the rent $50, make an extra $30K, right, on these units. But we have already done the market study and we've seen that you can actually double the rent and still be within the rules and affordable housing pricing. So let's say right now it's at $400 a month, but we could actually post renovations, raise the rent to $900 a month. Now you're talking a 2x plus, right? Because you're able to, one, provide better housing. It's nicer and newer once it's been renovated, but it's also going to produce twice as much cash flow per unit because you've been able to renovate and increase the rent on each unit, okay? So that's significant because now you're not talking about one house, you're not talking about two houses, you're talking about 48 units. And then being able to double the rent in those 48 units, that is where the return is going to come from in this investment alone. And when it comes to commercial real estate, because some people don't realize, rentals are normally you're looking at the monthly rent, you're normally looking at the monthly rent for one tenant. But in commercial real estate, you're looking at the rent per unit, and then you're able to multiply that by your potential return. And that becomes the valuation for the property. So the plan that they have for this property specifically, once they renovate and double the rents, you are looking at this investment going from a $4 million investment to a $6.1 million investment at a minimum before it is sold. And these are conservative numbers because Mike and his partners, they really don't like to over speculate what could happen. So all the numbers are conservative based on if they were able to do the minimum, which is in raising the rents to the normal market rates that are currently available in Hickory. But maxing out the rates would produce even more returns for investors. So I really like this deal because it literally meets the goal I had when I got into real estate investing. provide affordable, safe housing for people who need it most, and also have the opportunity to increase my family's legacy, right? And this is one of those deals where that's exactly what they're able to do. Over the 5-year period, they're going to raise the rents. They're going to still provide housing with those who are on vouchers or need assistance. It's going to be safe, renovated housing, but it's also going to be at today's market prices. And you have to keep in mind that when it comes to hotels and apartments, you are making money monthly based on the cash flow. That's what Mike talked about earlier. But then you also make money when you sell the property. So you have two opportunities to return investors' initial investment and give them a significant return during ownership and after you make the sale. Okay, so before I go on, let me know, do all of y'all understand that? Do you understand how the money is made, how you push the rents up in housing, in multifamily housing, so that you can then value it at a much higher rate before you sell it? Because that is what makes this attractive to other investors. The other thing I like about this is this Hickory, North Carolina opportunity is actually an off-market opportunity. It did not have to go through MLS for those who are so used to finding houses, you know, on realtor sites, because another investor presented it to us. And so one of the benefits to being in the real estate commercial space for over 25 years is Mike has been able to build partnerships and relationships with investors who have opportunities off market and are still willing to give them to him and his partners at a really good rate so that everybody wins. The people who they're buying this from have an opportunity to make their profit, as well as those who buy it have an opportunity to make profit as well. So this is a win-win, and this is what I really like about this deal in particular, because it provides that future building wealth, double my money over a 5-year period. And I want to emphasize this because when you invest in hotels and apartments, it is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is not a double my money in a year situation, but it does have the potential to provide consistent cash flow either on a monthly or a quarterly basis, as long as the properties are profitable. So I did want to highlight, I saw someone said, I want to double my money, or I want to make 100% of my money in a year. This is not it. That's not this deal, okay? So just know that a lot of times it will require that you look at the full picture, be willing to potentially invest for 2.5 to 5 years, because, you know, Mike said most of his deals have been 2.5 years. They've been able to exit early sometimes and make it very profitable for investors. But realistically speaking, I would mentally prepare yourself for a 3 to 5 year commitment, right? But in that time frame, you have the potential to have cash flow that comes from the actual businesses. And then you also have the opportunity to make a return when the property is sold. Okay, so I saw a yes in the chat when I said, is this making sense? And you guys understand it. So let's hit the questions once I go over this one last slide. So just to kind of recap, this is an opportunity that's actually already been identified. What we presented to you today are hotel examples and apartment examples that the fund is going to pursue. The criteria is going to be very strict because we need to make sure that the return comes back for the investors. So Mike, Ealy, and his team are going to make sure that whatever opportunities the fund finances, they're going to meet this same criteria, right? So that he can ensure that you get your 1.8 to 2.3 multiple on your initial investment. And so it's opportunities like this. They're not A properties, they're not, because in the multifamily space, we have grades. Just like when you were in high school, you got A, B, C's, and sometimes D's. This is an opportunity that's not an A yet, but once you buy it, renovate it, you can increase the value as well as the appreciation. So I'm about to hop into these questions, Mike, because these are some really good questions, and I want to make sure we get them answered. But I wanted to know, based on this, does everybody think, hey, I'm ready? Type I'm ready if you want to know more about how you can be in hotels and apartments. Veronica says ready, because this is what I really, really like about the Lion Capital
Billy
Fund.
says ready. Marsha.
Marsha
They're
says,
like, I ain't got time. We got to take action now.
yes. So
Action
what
taken.
I really like about the Lion Capital Fund is it is one fund. You make one investment, you're invested in multiple opportunities. And it's these opportunities that they will be used to get your return back, right? So you are invested in the fund, and then Mike Ealy and his team will continue to identify real estate opportunities in the hotel and apartment space that will result in a return for its investors. But we wanted to provide to you some examples of what the fund is already in, so you have a clear understanding of the types of deals that they're looking for and the criteria that they have to meet. So the Lion Capital Fund is available right now. Again, Mike said it's already operational. It has some investors in it who are already receiving their dividends, aka cash flow. But we are seeking more individuals who want to be in the fund, who want to take advantage of this opportunity. And now Vestor has provided a public platform where they are pulling the investors' money together. So I'm going to show you the Vestor platform and how you can get involved. But I want to look at this chat and answer some of these questions, okay? So let's go back up because we had a few questions come in while we were presenting. We did talk about the return. So again, if you are looking to double, triple your money in 6 months to a year, this is not it. This is a commercial real estate fund that is going to invest in commercial real estate. And when they make the investment into those deals, when the cash flow comes from those deals, that's how investors will be paid. And that may take two to 3 more years at minimum, 5 years max. So definitely keep that in mind. If you're trying to get a get-rich-quick return, this is not it.
And guys,
Amanda,
I just want to add before you go in there. And guys, again, with this Lion Capital, you get the best of both worlds. And we're going to be acquiring a lot more of these affordable housing projects, and I'll be acquiring a lot more hotels. But let me tell you something. We're going to get these deals, and there's a lot more coming. All right, and you, by investing in one fund, will seize the opportunity. All right. So again, I share all those things because, you know, some of you may be younger, some of you may be older, but what I'm gonna tell you is, I missed the time that I didn't have building wealth early enough so I could share it with my father before he passed away. Like if that was a regret, that was it. I don't want you having that. I want you to start taking action now. Stop waiting. Start taking action now. Whether you do it with us, whether you do it with some other investing, whether you do your own investing, but these are great opportunities for you to start taking passive income, getting amazing returns, and be completely hands-off. Let's get through these questions.
yes, and that's a good point. So some people, they look at me and they say, well, Kwani, you said you own a hotel, and how much work does that involve? As an investor in the fund, it requires zero work for you. Mike is the one who's going to have to be going to work every day and making sure that these investments make their money. So that's actually something really attractive, especially if you have a 9 to 5.
Billy think that's really attractive because he's just over there smiling like, yeah, I like that. I got enough over here.
Yeah. So if you have a 9 to 5, if you're looking to make passive income, so you will not have to chase down people who don't pay their rent. You're not going to have to deal with toilets, tenants, and termites. That is not going to be your responsibility. You will receive cash flow based on the returns of that Mike helped secure for you. Amanda asked about the 45-day after investing when you're getting distributions. Is that typical for your deals, or is this an outlier? I would honestly say it depends on the deal, but the good thing about the Lion Capital Fund is because it already exists, because it's already cash flowing, it is able to do that now, right? But if we were starting from zero, you might have to have waited a little bit in order to see that type of return. But because it's already into some commercial properties that are cash flowing, it's able to pay distributions right now.
Absolutely.
So that's really important. When you're doing your math, how do you know it's a good deal? Veronica, that's a really good question. Mike is actually going to be doing some free education about that as well coming up. But Mike, what would you say are your top 3 things that you look for to know that it's a good deal? And then I'll give my 3 as well.
Well, I'm kind of looking at a few things. One, just the overall project. Does it pass the stress test, right? What is the equity multiple for the project? If it's 2.5 to 3x, that tells me, one, that's probably a decent return, right? Because that means not only you got 2 of that can go to the investor so they can double their money, and then there's enough money to pay the sponsor, the developer, the person who's in charge, the general partner, which would be me. So everybody's getting paid. Like, don't get me wrong, we provide a service, but we can't work for free. And so that's why I like those deals. I don't, if I'm an investor, right? If I'm a passive investor, I'm also looking at who's the manager, what skill set do they have? That lets me know if it's a good deal, right? Mm-hmm. Because I know certain management groups or operators, they only do certain types of deals. Then I also look at how can we increase the value? Can we increase it by increasing rents? Can we increase it by increasing the ADR? Do we need to do renovations to that? Is it a lot of renovations? So I take all of that in perspective to determine if it's a good deal. So in layman's term, for like the affordable housing, I knew we could push the rents by $400 to $500. I said, well, as long as we get that price down low, I know that's a good deal, right? Because as Aquina was sharing earlier, just to give you a small little perspective, and I'm sorry, you got to tell me to be quiet because I go off on the tangent here, but $50, if you can just increase the rent by $50, so let's say you got 100 units. I'm going to do easy math. 50 times 100, that's $5,000 a month. Now, some of you are like, 5,000 is not all that. And some are like, oh, I would take an extra 50, an extra 5,000. But 5,000 times 12, that's $60,000 more dollars a year. And guess what? That's great too. Now, it's not going to change my life, but I will take it. But here's the killer. 60,000 divided by the market cap rate of 6%. Guess what? We just created $1 million in value. And that's what's so amazing about apartments. That's what's so amazing about hotels. If you can increase the revenue, if you can push the rents, you're creating value. Now, I just showed you an example of $50. The deals we're doing, we're pushing rents by $400 to $600. Do the math. That math is mathing, okay? All right, and it's the same for hotels, all right? So that's what I look for. How much can we push the ADR? How much can we increase the occupancy? What value can we push it to? And if I can barely push the value and I got to do a lot of work, we won't do the deal, right? I'm have to say I work really hard, but I'm a lazy worker. I like easyology. Okay, I studied in that. And so I like to make things very easy. All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on par with that too. I look at the person who's managing the investment when I'm not doing all the work, right? And so I do look for individuals with experience, which is why Mike Ealy with 25 years plus in the industry, and no deals in foreclosure as this real estate investor, that's really important, right? Since he's been able to time and time again get investors their money. So I look for that track record. I also look on his experience in these types of deals. Does he really understand them? Does he have expertise in apartments? Does he have expertise in hotels? So whenever you're looking at a deal, this one or any other one, you want to make sure the people who are running the day-to-day know what they're doing. The other thing I look for is I like investments that 2x or better my investment, because that's my personal goal, is that if I'm going to put my money out there, it has to come back to me doubled or more. So I look for that number, and that's how I determine if it's a good deal for me. And then the last thing I look for is how long is my money going to be tied up. I am very comfortable with a 3 to 5 year time frame, because None of the money that I'm using to invest, I'm trying to live off of right now. But we do have investors who do use their cash flow for their living expenses. So it just depends on where you are in your journey. I am in my accumulation phase. So a lot of the investments I'm making, the seeds that I'm planting are accumulating for me. And then I've created a plan where every 3 to 5 years, something is selling. So I was in 354 unit apartment syndication in Orlando, Florida, and it just sold over the summer. And I invested in that 3 years ago. So please keep in mind, you have to think ahead. Am I going to plant a seed today in 2024 that I can cash out 2 to 3 or 5 years from now? Because if that's your desire, you need to plant the seed today. Okay, so that's what I do. Those are the numbers I look for. And when those numbers look good for me, that's when I invest.
Hey, before we go on, I noticed I think we were here for an hour. I know we're over time, and I am a respecter of time. But if you would like us to continue, I'll continue to ask a couple of questions. If that's all right with you, type it in the chat, keep going, or you're like, hey, it's time for me to cut out. Either way, we can send you a recording. Or people like, no, keep going, keep going. Okay, I guess you like what you're hearing. Okay, you like what you're hearing.
All right, Mike, so I'll throw this one to you. How do you run comps to determine if a deal makes sense? And what tools are available for you to use?
There's a couple of things that we use, depending on which one. But my go-to is CoStar. All right, I do have a subscription to that, and it actually tells you the values of properties and what they sold for commercial. Now, for single families, you can use the MLS. You can go to your local auditor. Like in Cincinnati, we have Hamilton County Auditor, and I literally can type in the address and kind of do a block range and see what house is sold for the street. For those you don't have access to the multiple listing service, all right. The other way is I calculate the value based on, for those who ask how you spell CoStar, you spelled it exactly correct. That is how you spell it, COSTAR. There's other things that I use. For hotels, I use what they call a star report. Now it's a star report, but it's called Smith Travels Report, all right? And that shares with us what's the market occupancy in the area. What's the average ADR? What is the ADR? What is the RevPAR? Now, I never talked about RevPAR. RevPAR is revenue per available room. So even though rooms occupied are doing $125 a night, the RevPAR could be $95. Now, what's the difference between RevPAR and ADR? Well, RevPAR is the revenue. If you were to take 125 over all the rooms, including vacancy, it would average out to that number, to that $99. So how do I check the value? Now here, when you get sophisticated, now here's the real way to do it. You get what they call the trailing 12, right? That's the profit and loss. That's just a sexy word. You'll hear TTM, trailing 12 months, or you'll just see trailing 12. And you want to look at the NOI. Then you take that NOI, the net operating income, and you divide it by the market cap rate. Depending on where you are, the cap rate could be 7, it could be 8, it could be 6. But you divide it by that, and that tells me what the value is. And then you go a step deeper. Then you could say, because some people don't do just value. They say, well, what is that price per door? So then I'll take that value, let's say it was 10 million, right? And you divide it over 100 units, 10 million divided by 100, I believe that comes out to be 100,000. So it came out to be $100,000 a door. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So those are some of the resources I use to determine value. CoStar. And then here's an easy thing. A broker, you can call up a broker and say, hey, I'm interested in this building. I want you to represent me, but I want to find a value. Guess what? They can send out and share with you all the different values in the area. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So in summary, you can look up comps, but they're based in the commercial space. They're normally based on what are other hotels doing in that area. And they're not just looking at sale prices, they're also looking at revenue too. So that's why he said he looks at a STAR report that highlights the average daily revenue, average daily rate for some of the hotels in the same area. But one thing I do want to explain, because for some people, they sometimes think, oh, this is a Ritz-Carlton and it's right next to a Holiday Hilton Home 2 Suites. Are you saying that you have to compare the Home 2 Suites to the Ritz? And the answer is no. In the hotel space, you only compare apples to apples. You do not try to compare the Pineapple Ritz-Carlton to the Apple Hilton Home 2 Suites. So when you're looking at hotels,
yeah, let me jump in there, because that's different. That's like having a Kettle One with cranberry and orange juice versus a cranberry and pineapple. Two different drinks. Two different drinks. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. I only want the Kettle One with cranberry and orange juice if you ever want to buy me a drink. I'm just telling you. Okay.
Yeah, but so when you're comparing hotels, we're going to look at the similar hotels. So if you have a Home 2 Suites that has suites, larger rooms, lower room rates, you're going to compare a Home 2 Suites to maybe a Comfort Suites, right? They're the similar category and preferably similar room size, like room number of rooms. Maybe they both have 80 rooms or 100 rooms, but you would not compare the Ritz-Carlton and the Home 2 Suites, because those are not the same types of hotel categories. And then for the apartments, you can also do what Mike said, is looking at the rates, looking at the area, and then doing a calculation based on what the market is doing and performing. Veronica asked about the hotel. So Mike, that's your baby, right? We didn't say this, but that's actually your first hotel
Yes.
that you are still proudly managing and running. What did it take to get to $124 a night, and how are you going to do it? So we already talked about renovating the hotel. We talked about how you transformed the amenities as well as the rooms, and now all you have left is changing out some of the furniture that we talked about. But is there anything else you can do to push that rate up higher?
There's really only one thing left to do. Really only one thing, and I'm gonna give you the very small one. The small one is I gotta do very something small. I can't even get the water out. My sprinkler system, because I want my landscaping to be A1. It's a B plus A minus right now. I need to be A plus. That's very minor, but it's very impactful. I share that because it's very impactful. But number two is my sales team. I just brought in a cleaner for sales. And what I like to do is get heads in beds. Now, some of you, when you think about hotels, you think about heads in beds, you think about banquet space, and you think about that person just traveling for the week. I like to get what we call CNRs, commercial negotiated rates. I like to consider that like my Section 8. I get businesses that are coming into town that are staying 3, 6, 8 months or a year at a time, and I lock them in for a rate. Now, guess what? If I can get a total of 50 rooms sold for 365 days, whether it's one big group or 7 groups or 10 groups, they give me a base of 50. Guess what? I sell 60 rooms in my sleep. So if I'm selling 60 rooms and I got another 50 rooms sold, that's 110 a night. Guess what? I'm killing it. And then now I got, that's 110. I got 35 more rooms to sell a night. Well, guess what? I'm selling those at 165, 180, $200 a night. That's what's going to change the game. That's what's going to push my ADR to $125. If you want to know the secret about hotels, sell your room. Get those rooms. So don't just, a lot of people just want to go after the wedding crowd, or they think matter of fact, for some people that are the novice, they're like, oh, big concerts coming once a year. That's not going to fill up your hotel for the rest of the year. That's just one day or one weekend, which we want it. Like when the big golf tournament comes in every year, I want it. But I want it when Ohio State comes and plays their home football game. I want it because my hotel sells out. Your hotel sells out. But what you really want is that CNR, commercial negotiated rates. That's what's going to get me to $124 a night.
Yep. And that's what helps maintain revenue throughout changes in the economy. When festivals are canceled, you still have business traveling happening. You still have people.
And I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
You still have
Go
people
ahead.
who are coming in to stay in that town, to do business meetings, to orchestrate deals. So you definitely want that. Yes, getting a deal with the university is nice. And there's about 50 universities near the Ohio hotel. So that's really, really good. So is Hickory a HUD development? So Hickory is classified as affordable housing multifamily deal because some of the tenants are on Section 8 vouchers, and their vouchers are being paid for through government assistance. But that's also an opportunity zone, we consider it, right? Because we now have tenants, we're giving them better housing, but we're also not relying on them 100% of the time to pay us. So you definitely want affordable housing opportunities if you can come across them, because it's a great way to make sure your rent is paid, but also providing nice affordable housing to your tenants. Cherie says, will our investment be split between two investments? So that is a really good question. So you are investing money into the fund, and the fund is looking for opportunities that will help return 2x, 1.8 to 2.3x your investment. So we provided today examples of the types of deals that the fund is going to support, because they already are doing these two for sure. But there will be future opportunities that come along that money inside the fund will be used to pay for. So these are examples. We're always looking for deals where you're going to 2x the investment. We're looking for deals where there's opportunity for growth through renovation, through increasing the average daily rate. But we don't know what the future holds. There might be an amazing third opportunity that comes along. But when you invest in the fund, your funds will be used to pursue those types of deals. They will be limited to hotel and apartment deals, but this is an idea of what to expect. So Cherie, I hope that answers your question. Billy, were you asking about what is Section 8, or were you just asking, is the Hickory a Section 8, a full Section 8 subdivision? So let me know, clarify that for me in the comments, and then I'll go ahead and answer that question. No, so Amanda, that's a really good question. Hickory is fine. Hickory, it did need like a little bit of repairs to the roof, but not because of the storm. It actually just needs a little bit of repairs to the roof because it needs to have some renovations done. But it wasn't impacted by the storm at all, so it's doing just fine. I asked that same question because I knew that it was going to come up. Beverly said, was this area or surrounding areas impact? No. Also, how would you impact the raising of the rent and or selling of the unit? So they weren't impacted by the hurricane, so there isn't an impact to selling or raising the rents, if that makes any sense. But in general, when you have opportunities like this, raising the rent is a part of the business plan. And I forgot to highlight that, Veronica, like make sure whoever you choose to invest with has a solid business plan on what they plan to do with the money and how they plan to transform the investment. So definitely consider that. Billy asked about crime rate. I do not have the crime stats for Hickory, North Carolina, but it is one of the most popular places to retire in the North Carolina, South Carolina area. And if retirees are flooding there, I'm pretty sure it's not as high of a crime rate as some other major cities, because it's definitely been a respite for a lot of people as they age and get older. So makes sense, makes sense, makes sense. All right. What if I want to cash out before the 5 years? And this goes for any deal. Is that possible? That's an excellent question. I'm going to let Mike tackle it because this is a great one. You've had 25 years to have this potentially come up for you. How do you handle it when someone says, Mike, I need my money back? What do you do?
Never. Absolutely not. No, it's done. Like Pete. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, no. So when you invest in a deal, it is a commitment. But here we're not here to hold anybody up. We understand emergencies happen, and if we're able to, we can refund some money. But typically, we will work with you, but that's not something we don't do typically. All right. And quite frankly, I'm just being transparent. I probably shouldn't tell people this, but I've had people in emergencies, and we worked it out. Some they were just like, Mike, I really need this, and they've been a loyal client. They probably invested with me a couple of times. Guess what? I said, don't worry about it. I literally took money out of my own funds to make sure things could happen for them. But that's not nothing we do all the time. Again, I shouldn't share that with you, but like we're here for everyone to win. So we understand things happen, but typically you're locked in. But if we're able to do it and we have funds in reserve, that's a possibility. Because that's one of the things we try to do is keep some funds in reserve. But it does come with a penalty. Sometimes they do come with a penalty. So it just all depends. But
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't
think
happen
that
often.
yeah, the main thing to know is it's a commitment. So if it's a 5-year commitment, most likely you're going to have your money invested in a fund for 5 years. But like in my apartment syndication deal, for example, I thought it would be a 5-year commitment, but a good buyer came along in 3, so we were able to cash out sooner. So it really just depends. But like Mike said, if you are in dire straits and it's a situation where they can help you, they will. But most of the time, you are signing up to have your money invested for the duration of the commitment, which in this case is a 5-year commitment for the fund. Okay, Amanda, I can answer this one for you. She said, what's the situation with the current owner of the Hickory complex? Why are they selling? Are they distressed? The answer is no, they are not distressed. So remember we talked about business plans and how you want to make sure whoever's at the helm has a plan? Well, every investor has different ways they like to invest. And for Hickory specifically, this investor's business model is to acquire properties, do a little bit of work, make a return, and then sell. So he sells about 2,000 to 4,000 units a year. And this happens to be some of the units that he's selling for this year. But he's also left some equity in it where when he sells it to us, it is a situation where there's still more money to be made, right? Because the business plan is to renovate the properties, raise the rent, increasing the valuation, and then selling in 5 years. So just know that it's not a situation where, fortunately in COVID, we benefited getting hotels in COVID because those hotel owners were in situations where they needed to get rid of properties. But in this situation, this is the business model of the owner. It's time for him to sell. He's had it for the duration he wants to have it, and he is ready to sell it so that someone else can come along and do the renovations and make their profit too. So it's still a really good deal for the investors. Okay, Yolanda says she'll check it out and check it out. Okay, so what is your minimum IRR and what are you looking for in the comps? What about the return on equity?
Yeah, so I mean, IRR minimum is 14 to 16%. But realistically, we really want deals over 20%. But with the REIT, we don't want to take any risky deals. We want things that are already performing. So, we want to make sure our investors get return. But when we throw in more of these affordable housing, those IRRs will jump up significantly. And what was the other question? I'm sorry.
What are you looking for when it comes to comps, and what about the return on equity?
So equity, go.
Yeah, I was going to say for
uh-huh.
me, when it comes to comps, you just want to make sure that the valuation of your property is either in line with what everything else in the neighborhood and also not
Absolutely.
selling for more than it's worth, right? So whenever you're buying something, you want to make sure that
Less than what it's worth.
has a higher value than what you're buying it
Yeah,
for.
there you go.
Because you want to buy and then as soon as you close, have equity. So when you're looking at comps, you want to make sure it's properly priced, right? So whatever the person's selling it to you for, it should not excessively exceed any of the other properties in the area, because then it might not be priced correctly. So that's what we're looking for when it comes to comps. And then the last question was, what about return on equity? So,
return on
oh,
equity.
you mean for
That's what.
investors? I think for
Yeah,
investors.
that's the whole point of the equity multiple. So I'll say it in two ways. I like to, the easy way, double investors' money, especially within 5 years. If I can get them, here's the bottom line. If you can average out, that's why IRR is so important. If you can average out in the teens IRR, you're doing pretty good, right? If you can make, you know, especially in this market, if you can make 6 to 8% on your money average a year, that's great. Some may not be excited. Some are going to be really excited. You know why? Because with some of our deals, we were able to do what we call accelerated depreciation. And what they got was a tax write-off that's almost equal to their investment. So guess what? They invested $50,000 or $100,000. They ended up getting a tax write-off of $50,000 or $20,000, which is more than they would have received in cash flow. So guess what? Guess what? If you owe $20,000, $30,000 in taxes, right? And you were only going to make $8,000 in cash flow. Just a quick question: which one would you want? Would you want the tax write-off, or would you want the cash flow? And don't, there's nothing wrong with
No right or wrong.
There's no right or wrong. Which one you want? The cash flow or the write-off? If you invested, the tax write-off. Somebody said tax write-off. Anybody else? What would you write? Tax write-off. Well, guys, I'm gonna tell you something. Yeah, it's Marcia. You my one. I want them both. Okay, I want it all. Give it to me all, baby. All right. Well, no, I mean, look, every deal is different, but yes, I would like them both. I truly do, and because I am a real estate professional, I'm designated as a real estate professional in the tax world. I get both. What really another reason to attract me to hotel? This is crazy, but one of our investors, our owners, partners, I know for a fact they make $5 million a year. That's right, $5 million a year. Guess what? They don't pay any federal taxes. I was like, what? How are you doing this? Like, I didn't make nowhere near that, and I paid taxes. They got so much bonus depreciation. They got so much accelerated depreciation that they got all these write-offs. They didn't have to pay any taxes. And look, they reported this income. This is income they reported. Now, here's the bad thing about investing in hotels and apartments. I'm gonna hate to tell you this, but you have to keep investing, and you're going to continue to get wealthier because you'll keep getting these tax write-offs. You got to keep buying more. Like, it's crazy. Like, I took 1 year off because I was focused on some other projects and developments and setting up a business. I didn't buy anything that 1 year, but I didn't buy any new assets, but I did sell some assets. I'm getting hit over the head with taxes, man. I'm pissed. I'm pissed. But if I would have just bought a hotel or apartment or did some renovation that year, I would have got what they call bonus depreciation, and I would have been able to take all that write-off and offset all my gains for that year.
Mm-hmm. Now, everybody's situation is different. Talk to your certified public accountant to figure out how this could benefit you. But I can attest to this too. It's been really helpful in my business to be able to have some taxes offset, so I don't write as big of a check to the IRS. But it's also important to understand that the cash
Well, hold
flow.
on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Does anybody want to be over here miserable like me? Just you gotta keep doing deals so you can't pay taxes. Anybody want to continue to just keep working building wealth. Like, this is a horrible life to have. Did anybody want this life? This is horrible. Not paying taxes and you continue to get appreciation. Say lifestyle. Type in lifestyle. Type in lifestyle.
So
Guys,
we have another question. When you spoke about the monthly and annual revenue for the properties, was that after your overhead or before?
say that one more time.
When you mentioned the cash flow from the 4 hotels, were you talking about cash flow before or after the monthly?
Oh, yeah. So I said, so when I talk about the 1.2 million a month, that's the actual gross income. But then you're going to net about 30% of that. So that's like that's like 300,000 a month. But my point is, because I gross that much, I got so many other write-offs that I have right there. So those are there's a lot of things going on right there. But like, realistically, between those hotels, like my stay bridge on a $400,000 a month, we can net after debt anywhere from 80 to 120,000 a month. That's just one hotel.
Mm-hmm. Belinda's asking, is 5 years typically the longest period of time to invest in a hotel? I can take that one. So it depends, Belinda. It depends on the hotel. It depends on how the market is doing. But lately, 3 to 5 years has been the typical amount of time invested. For anyone who owned a hotel before COVID and actually survived COVID, they might have held it for 7 years, just because COVID was a time where not everyone was in a position to sell and make the returns they wanted to give their investors, but COVID was definitely a great time to buy. So that can kind of give you an idea, but I say 3 to 5 years. I've always tried to get to 5 years, but people try to sell stuff before and I'm not mad at them. But it could be up to 7 depending on how the market is going. Marcia says, is the ultimate goal to sell the properties once it's renovated? That's okay. Actually, I want to add to that because I think we had another question about, is selling the only way to get investors' money back? And the answer is no. We can also refinance. So whenever you finance, you're able to take money out and pay investors back that way too. So
let me add to that as well. When I like to call it the infinite home run. Now, what is the infinite home run? Well, that's when, because you heard me talk about increasing rents. Well, check this out. You get in, you get it stabilized, you get it rented, right? Then by increasing the rents, you increase the value. So now you refinance it, you pull the investors' money out, investors get their money back, they're still in the deal. But check this out. The property is still cash flowing, and every year the revenue continues to increase. Why? Because you push the ADR up or you increase the rent. And every 5 or 7 or 10 years, you refinance, you pull more money out, and you keep cash flowing. The ultimate goal is to have the infinite home run. Those are the deals you hang on to, especially if they're in like a Class A area. And some of us, we may just want to pay it off. It just depends on the type of investor and the type of and goals. Okay.
All right. So I want to take an opportunity before we hit up any more questions. I want to show you guys where to find this on Vestor. Okay. And I also want to give you some more information about the fund because we didn't talk about the minimum investment. And I think that's really, really important. Okay. So I'm about to share my screen. We're going to send out the recording. We're going to send out this link. I'm also going to give people an opportunity to meet with me if you have additional questions. But the Lion Capital Fund is an investment opportunity on Vestor. The fund already exists, but we just added it to Vestor to help more people find the opportunity and be able to invest in it, okay? So on Vestor, our goal is to raise $1.1 million, and we are looking for our first investor right now. There are already, like I said, hotels that are being financed by the fund, so they're cash flowing, and the current investors are receiving cash flow. So for those who decide to go into the fund, you will also be in a position of receiving cash flow probably within the next 45 to 60 days because it's already cash flowing. This video that we're doing right now is going to replace this one, but here's the previous video. And then, like I said, this opportunity is specifically for apartments and hotels. So those are the types of investments that are in it. And Hickory, North Carolina is a deal that the fund will finance, as well as the Courtyard in Ohio, okay? So just keep that in mind. The minimum investment for the fund is $25,000, okay? But you do have the option to invest more. So if you're interested in doing more than $25,000, you definitely can, but that is the minimum. And in previous opportunities, we've had people do these as an individual. You can invest through your business, or you can partner with someone personally and invest together. So there's more than one way to get into the deal. But because the goal is to really give investors back their money within the 5-year time period, you will find that most of the profit that comes back from the investment opportunities is going to be given back to the limited partners. That's you. So limited partners are investors who invest in the fund, and they have limited liability, responsibility, and they don't have to do all the work, okay? So when you think of your role, you are a limited partner because you are putting in money, cash, into the fund to have access to some of the profits and proceeds from the deals that the fund invests in, okay? And then we provided 2 examples of the types of deals the fund will finance, so you have an idea that if the deal does not meet that criteria, it is not going to be considered, okay? So that's how we ensure that we have criteria and standards to govern how the money will be used. And then you have Mike, who's going to do the day-to-day, as well as some of his other business partners who are doing the deal with him, okay? So we did have a really good question, Mike, about the profit and loss statements for the hotel or for the apartment, and like, are people going to be able to see that individual information?
Yes, 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 yes.
Forward?
Yeah, before go on that, so guys, some of you are excited and ready to go right now. You can just, as you said, go straight to Investor and sign up right there. And or you can set up a call. All right, quick, did you want to?
I'm going to drop my link for a call. So here's a link to go to Vestor if you want to make your investment right now. You have heard enough information to make an informed decision, but just know we will send out this recording as well as the slides. But if you are interested in chatting with me further about this, I'm going to drop in the chat right now a link to hop on my schedule this week to talk to me right now. Okay, so give me a second.
And is my camera frozen? Am I good?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. And guys, someone also asked, are we taking any guiding any students or doing any education? Yes, we do education as well. And you can just sign up on our link. Whatever you need help with, if you're interested in learning more about this, just set up a time with our Calendly link, and we'll love to give you. We again, I want to get you to your transformation. All right. And so you said, when does this close? Well, hold on. Let me go to P&L. Let me stay in order. That's why I got to quit, because I'll just go all over the place. Will you get to see the P&L? Yes. Every month we do a report, and every quarter we do a quarterly report. So we'll share with you every month the profit and loss is just raw, untouched files. Like, this is what it looks like every month. So you can see and see how your investment's doing. And then also we'll do a quarterly meeting where we'll do a Zoom call like this, and we'll set up and share with you all the information on the progress of about the hotel, the apartments, or the fund overall. Okay?
Great questions. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Marcia says, let me talk to my CPA about taking money from my rollover IRA. Let's go, Marcia.
Yeah, that 401k. And I'm glad you brought it, because some of you have what they call dead money. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, you stand over and like, rise, like Jesus said. Okay, I know I'm tripping. All right. But look, you got a 401k that you left your job, right, at another job, and it's in a Roth account. Guys, you can roll that over and invest in deals just like this. Because some of your 401ks are struggling. I know what it looks like, because I'm the doctor, okay? So I go in and give you the medicine that you need to make your investment return back to life, all right? You heal. Here, let me put the healing hands on you. Okay, you heal. Okay. All right. I know I'm extra. Anyway,
And y'all,
so
you can set up a meeting to talk to me about that too. I am the queen of using retirement funds to invest in current real estate opportunities, and I'm able to help guide you through that. And some of you on here have worked with me on that before. So if you're trying to figure out, can I use my old employer retirement account to invest? The answer is yes. And I'll definitely show you exactly how to do it. Cook says, can I contribute funds from a 1031 exchange?
that is a good question. That's a little challenging. Can it be done? Yes. Into the fund? Probably not. But still set up a call and we'll discuss different opportunities where we potentially could make that happen, depending on the transaction. There's another way that we could work that. We prefer to send you through the line capital, but again, I'm here to help you. So just reach out and we'll see what we can do. But doing a 1031 investing, you have what they call tenants in common. So I'm explaining this for everybody. So when you have a tenants in common, that means typically when you have a property and you're selling it, and so to avoid to pay these capital gains, you got to buy something that's a value of more value, right? And so if you do that and you do it through that system, you don't have to pay gains on your taxes. You just continue to kick down the road as long as you don't, as long as you continue to 1031. But when you come in and do a 1031, that person has to have, if there's debt, they have to have a certain portion of debt, and then they have to have a certain portion of equity, right? So there are 1031s that can be done, but the ideal situation would probably be what they call a DST, all right? Delaware statutory, man, I messed it up. It's a Delaware DST, and that's where a group of people with 1031s can invest and is structured just to take care of things just like that. But we'd love to help you. Regardless, that's a conversation, and we're going to point you in the right direction, whether it's with us or not.
Yes. So I dropped in the chat a link to go see the Deal Investor. And just know this week we're going to update the webinar and the slides there so you can have today's webinar to view. And I also dropped the link, and I'm going to drop it again. If you want to talk to me this week about you investing or have additional questions, please contact me, get on my schedule, and we will meet up. October 31st is the deadline, but we are looking for people to get in sooner rather than later, because the sooner you're in, the sooner we can start to close in cash flow your opportunity. And we are encouraging you to share with any friends, family, or investors that you think may be interested, because again, this is a great way for you to make one investment, but be able to receive cash flow and dividends from multiple deals. Amanda said, are distributions from the Lion Fund taxable as ordinary income, short-term gains tax, long-term gain tax, or some other form?
Oh, who is this? Who asking these questions?
That's my girl, Amanda, who is invested in Lake Charles. I am so excited to see my investors here who are asking some really good questions.
Yeah, no, that's a question for your accountant. Everyone is different, or your CPA. Yes, typically distributions are taxable, but again, depending on what depreciation, because listen, I never thought I would be so excited to see a negative K1. Do you realize that? I got a negative K1. All right. Hey guys, I'm sorry, 1 second here. I'm gonna let you guys take that. I got somebody knocking at the door.
Okay, I'll finish up that question too. So in my experience, and I think Mike Ealy, is also important to note, it depends on how you invest, like where your funds come from. So because I mostly leverage retirement funds and I use a special vehicle called a solo 401k, my distributions are not taxable. What ends up happening is they go back into the solo 401k. And when they are in there, as long as I don't pull them out to live off, use, or spend, I'm not paying taxes on them. I will pay taxes on my distributions in retirement, but potentially not if I'm still doing real estate and able to designate myself as a full-time real estate professional. So it depends. K1, okay, good. Billy, that's a great question. So most of you might be familiar with a 1099. A 1099 is a tax form that's issued to you when you make money. You might get a 1099 for interest on your savings account or your investment account. It just kind of highlights how much money you made. Well, in the commercial real estate space, when you are doing your taxes, you're not going to get a 1099, you're going to get a K1. A K1 just kind of outlines your portion of the expenses and the profits that have been made from that property. And that's what you're going to use to file your taxes and to let your accountant or whoever is working on your taxes know how to account for this in your tax calculations. So it's just the name of the form, just like a 1099 is called a 1099 because that's the form number. A K1 is called a K1 because that's the form number. Okay.
Hey guys, is this exciting? Is this good info? Is this exciting?
Is this helpful, guys? Okay. All right. So I am excited. We hit the questions. We gave people an opportunity to connect with me this week so that we can hang out a little bit more and learn more about this opportunity. And we are going to share the replay and encourage you to share it with other potential investors that you think would be excited about this opportunity. So I think we should wrap this up because we actually are been here for 2 hours, which is longer than I thought, but I actually am excited because you guys asked great questions and you were really involved. The last thing I want to do is just drop the Vestor link one more time so that you know how to get back to this. Look for an email from me where I will showcase the replay as well as how to access the slides again. And my schedule link, if you want to hang out with me, y'all know I'm always willing to hang out with y'all. And it's break this down even further and help you move forward.
I'm back. Sorry, I don't know
Mike
what
is
happened
here.
there. It disappeared for a second.
Yeah, so just recap, go to Vestor, check out the deal. $25,000 is the minimum investment, but you are always welcome to do more.
If you invest 50,000, I'm gonna give you some glasses like Quina, so you can be the bomb diggity. Because I need some glasses like that.
Just like this. No worries,
I woke up like this. Okay.
You welcome, Billy. It was so good to have you on the call today. So definitely let me know how else we can help you. Let me definitely get on my calendar. I've seen some of these calendar invites come through, so I know y'all were booking y'all meetings while we were in here. So kudos to the superstar students who are already on my schedule and ready to talk to me. I'm looking forward to talking to you. And that's all I got for you guys. Was this good?
Okay.
Was this good? We got a heart from Veronica. We got a thank you. We got a yes. We got this is great. I'm excited. I'm excited. Last thing. You do not have to be an accredited investor to do this. So remember, Devon talked about accredited versus non-accredited investors, people who have $1 million in net worth or 200K or more in salary each year. You do not have to be an accredited investor, but Vestor, when you go through the paperwork on Vestor, it will determine if you meet the criteria, right? So just know that that's also one of the perks of the fund that I actually like because it gives people more access to the opportunity. But the minimum investment is $25,000 and the fund closes soon. All right. So I'll stick around for another minute or two, but I'm going to say goodbye to the rest of you. Devon, are you still here? Would you like to also say good night? I don't know. I think I'm going to shut it down. So I'll be the one to shut it down.
I would say thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good night. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. We hear you.
Good night. Good night.
Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I see some of y'all this week. I'm going through my calendar is filling up. So don't forget to book your spot if you want to talk to me. I am totally looking forward to talking to all of you.
Okay. Hey.
Night.
Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Night.